Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy do I have a surprise for you. I have on Zoom with me right now Hayden Newman, and she played Riley Connor and also directed Reunion from Hell. Hey Hayden, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good after the third repeat of doing this intro, but we
Yeah.
finally got it right. I'm doing good though. Rough day at work, very busy. But I'm glad to have you on. We were scheduled for 3, but we decided to move it up an hour early, which is perfect for me. So, and I'm glad it was for you too.
It is. And it's an honor to be on. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. So the first question I got for you is, I'm sure there's some people that don't know what Reunion from Hell is about. So why don't you let everybody know the synopsis of it?
Okay. Reunion from Hell is it's a huge love letter, first of all, to the films like Scream and Halloween. It follows a group of friends. The lead, Riley Connor, has not been home in about 8 years. Something's happened that's made that character leave town. And unfortunately, one of the friends is killed. So therefore, Riley comes back home and they slowly begin to discover that it was bait. It's a trap. And there's somebody out there trying to kill them all one by one.
Awesome. That sounds really good, actually. And just to let everybody know, including yourself, I have been having internet issues the past 2 days. There's been an outage in the area. Now I'm good right now, and it was down earlier today, and it was down all day yesterday. So if we get disconnected, I will obviously it'll stop, and we'll just use the same Zoom room, and then I will let you know once it's back up, and I'll just do editing, obviously, to edit where we last left off. Sound
Okay,
good?
sounds good.
Awesome. I just wanted to clarify that so like if we get disconnected, I don't know what's been going on, but it's been aggravating me, and it's also been affecting my work since I work from home. So hopefully it stays stable.
Yeah.
So the next question I got for you is, how did you come up with the idea for Reunion from Hell?
Well, it had been festering for a while. I'm a theater brat. I
Nice.
come from theater background, 20 years of acting and directing theater. And I wanted to do something that was something that I would want to see as a horror fan. That was a love letter to the films that impacted me growing up.
Right.
And that was something different. I mean, for so long, horror has been found footage and ghost and found footage and ghost. So I wanted to do something different. And I feel like, and Kathy Podwell, who's in this film, she agrees with me. This film is very different, very groundbreaking, as she says.
Awesome. So that was my next question. I obviously know the answer, but is there any celebrities involved for that the viewers and listeners should be on the lookout for? And also, how did they get involved with the project?
Yes, Kathy Podwell, who was Judy in Night of the Demons, and Callie Harper on Dallas for 4 seasons. She was the second wife of J.R. Ewing. Okay. She is very much the second lead in the film.
Nice.
This is her first horror film since Night of the Demons 33 years ago.
Awesome.
And the way she got involved was I emailed her one day and asked her to read the script. She said, send me the script. And the next day she came back and said, let's do it.
Awesome.
So that's how she got involved. And it was kind of like this perfect storm because Kathy had kind of stepped away from acting to raise her children. And she always said that once her youngest child graduated from high school, she had no reason to not go back to acting.
Right.
Well, her youngest child graduated in May, and I emailed her in June of 2020.
Nice.
So it was like it was supposed to happen.
Awesome. So we spoke about this briefly, but obviously, if you can help me get Kathy on my show, I will obviously talk about Reunion from Hell with her as well and promote that even some more.
Oh yeah, Kathy would definitely love to do it. I'll reach out to her.
That'd be
We
great.
talk all the times.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that would be huge. And I mean, that would be great to have her on. We could obviously discuss Night of the Demons, Reunion from Hell, obviously, plug that some more. Because obviously, there's never too much press for any type of movie. The more, the better.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So, what was the hardest part about filming Reunion from Hell?
Well, we filmed in Louisville, Kentucky,
Mhm.
um, in early October. The hardest part, I would say, other than the COVID measures we had to take, um, would be some of the locations we didn't realize were as close to the airport as they were.
Oof.
And we would be filming a take and a plane would fly over. Well, the boom mic catches everything.
Yes, it does.
So we would have to scrap that take and start
Mhm.
all over again. But yeah, that was probably the most difficult challenge we faced was the airport.
Yeah. And like they say, obviously I'm an indie filmmaker myself. I know this from experience that audio can make or break a movie. It
Oh
really
yeah,
can. And especially, and anything from a boom mic, you could be like, oh, it's just a microphone. It only gets a couple. No, it gets a lot of audio and it picks a far distance away.
exactly.
And
Like
and it gets frustrating because like, oh my god, like I want to get this take and I want to get it, but every single time I try, something is interfering with the audio.
exactly. The we shot the finale of the film over 2 nights
Right.
and it was long night shoots. And that second night, which was actually the night that Kathy wrapped her portion of filming,
Mhm.
it was crazy. We would be like in a serious take and a plane would fly over. And
Mhm.
it was just, it was nightmarish. But that was about it.
Yeah, and I was talking about that with Sam Hodge and his wife, his fiance. We were talking about that, and she was mentioning about the long nights, and she said that sometimes it would be you'd be on set for what like 8 a.m. or something like that, 7 a.m., and you'd not get done till 3, 4 in the morning. And I mean, I can only imagine. We did one of those nights with my movie, and it's very long. It's very tiring. It takes a big toll on you.
It does. It is very tiring. Sam, of course, is my DP on Reunion, and he's also my co-director. Um, and then Jonna was my boom mic operator, and she did everything else. God bless her heart. And she also plays Jen in the film.
Nice.
But yes, I mean, we would start early morning, and some nights we would go to 2, 3 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Obviously, shooting a horror film, it's a lot of night shoots.
It
So
really is. And that's the thing with especially with horror movies. Like it wouldn't be a horror movie if like 90% of it's during the day.
exactly, exactly.
So what was the most fun parts about filming Reunion from Hell?
We had a lot of fun times on that set. We all, one of the locations that we used, we rented through Airbnb,
Right.
and it was big enough for the entire cast and crew to stay at. So we all stayed there for the entirety of the shoot. So we all lived like a family. I like to say we should have been running cameras going behind the scenes of, you know,
Right.
a documentary on what happens behind the scenes of filmmaking.
Right.
But we ate dinners together, and just we became like a family. And oh, so many fun things happened on that set. One of the most memorable would be me and Kathy and Jeremiah Lee Steinert, who plays Brady in the film. We had been doing a night shoot. It was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We were hungry. So we were on the way back to the main location where we were staying, and we were like, well, we're going to stop, go through this Taco Bell and
Mhm.
get some food. none of us stop to think we're covered in fake blood, we're covered
Whoa.
in cuts, we're covered. None of us. So we order our food,
Mhm.
we go up to the window, and the kid, oh, we probably scared him to death. That when he opened the window, he just paused and he was like, "Y'all need to go to the hospital right now." And we all busted out laughing, and that's when it clicked. We were like, "No, we're making a movie." But that also is a testament to Derek Worley, who did our special effects in the film. That, we go through a drive-through at Taco Bell, and they thought it was very real.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah, and the thing is like I have like a similar situation like that. I went to I went to Boyers to, I got a bunch of like, stuff to make fake blood. Like Boyers is a local supermarket type place. I got a bunch of stuff to make fake blood to dye and everything. I had like 9 things of corn syrup and everything like that. It was crazy. And then like I know my company CEO went to Walmart and she had to get some props for our Friday the 13th fan film we were working on, just something to do in between films. And she was buying a machete and duct tape and all this different stuff, and the cashier's looking at her like, huh? And she's like, for
Yeah,
the movie, I swear.
you get
It's-
some weird look.
some of the stuff you do for your craft, right?
Exactly, exactly.
I'm telling you, it's crazy, and like some of the looks you get, it's like you have to explain to them, I'm making a movie, so don't call 911. I'm okay.
Exactly.
I have no I have no ill intentions.
Yeah, I mean, we had moments like that on the set, and then we had moments where, I mean, it was just purity fun. We had a blast on the set. I mean, really, it was a group of filmmakers that came together that all loved what they were doing. We all connected, and we had a blast making the movie.
And that's the most important part about filmmaking is like if you run it like it's a boot camp and it's not going to be any fun, nobody's going to want to do it really well, or they're not going to be putting their all into it. But when you make it fun, I mean, obviously it's going to be work, but when you make it a relaxed environment and there's jokes and there's fun moments, you laugh in and all that, it makes it for a much better experience, and people are going to be able to put all of their efforts and all of their work, and all of their their hard work and everything into it. And that's when the product, when it's finished, it comes out to be amazing, like the final movie magic, so to speak.
Oh yeah. And I think, this was a script. I certainly believed in it. It was my baby, but everybody that was involved believed in what we were doing. And this is not your typical slasher film per se, where you're running through the woods and people are
Right.
getting their heads chopped off.
Right.
This film is very much centered around this group of friends and
Mhm.
their backstories.
Right.
And it was very important to me that you cared about these characters.
Yeah. And that's
Um,
really important about a movie is character development.
so, we have these backstories going on with these characters, but they're all thrown into this crazy life threatening situation and they have to deal with it.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
that's what was so important to me with these characters, was creating characters you cared about. And
Right. Was there a process that you did to make these characters have these certain personality traits and these ideals that people can fall in love with?
well, no, I some of them, I based off personal experience.
Mhm.
You know they're very different types of characters, and when I
Right.
say that, and this is why Kathy felt this is going to be a groundbreaking film,
Mhm.
is because it is centered around a group of LGBTQ friends,
Awesome. Awesome. That's great.
and it's not something that's done, and if it is done, it's not done the right way.
Right.
um where it's usually a joke, a running joke of how an LGBTQ character is just, just way
Exactly.
over the top.
Right.
And no, these characters are just, everyday people, and that just happen to be who they are, and they're
Right.
thrown in this situation.
That's awesome. And it's good to give recognition to that. Like you said, like even in Friday the 13th Part 5, they had those greasers. They were supposed to be lovers without ever exploring it, but they didn't really do any justice to that if that's what they were meant. And even the LGBTQ, they're like kind of like even like associated with the African Americans in horror films. They're easily dispatched of right away. Give them some of that
Exactly.
proper recognition. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that was so important to me. And Kathy told me a story. She was talking to her sister-in-law,
Mhm.
and she has a family member who is a member of the LGBTQ
Right.
community. And they overheard Kathy and her sister-in-law talking about it, and Kathy telling her that the story centered around a group of LGBTQ characters. And she said, and this family member was 15,
Okay.
and she said that they came around the corner with just like this biggest smile on their face. Like all of a sudden they were interested, like, oh, we're finally being included in a movie.
Mhm.
So
Awesome. That's really great. It really is, and it's part of myself being part of it, the LGBTQ community. It's really great to know that we're being represented in a positive light instead
yeah,
of being having it just diminished to like a running joke or running gag in any type of movie, or easily just being a character for the sake of demographic and then easily just being dispatched off by the killer.
yes. I watched a horror movie just the other day, a newer horror movie. I won't say what it was, but the gay couple that was just there to be the gay couple were like the first ones killed, and I'm like, really?
Really? Like really that's where you're going with this?
Yeah.
I love
So yeah, it was important. And not every character is a part of the
it.
LGBTQ
Hmm.
community.
Right.
But there are characters there that
Mhm.
are. So
Right.
it was important.
Awesome. That's great. So I know that you had an Indiegogo campaign that was released. And I've been asking a lot of indie filmmakers this question on my show, especially with that whole debacle that happened with Once Upon a Nightmare. So any tips or suggestions that you have for anybody that is now afraid of donating to these campaigns due to the scam that was obviously Once Upon a Nightmare, and why should they still help out those making indie films?
Well, first of all, the Once Upon a Nightmare debacle. Oh, just I don't even want to go down that path.
Yeah.
But to fans out there, your support is what helps us make these films. And my best advice to anybody is, investigate the filmmaker a little bit, investigate the cast that's involved. You know,
Mhm.
just make sure that, and there's ways of doing it, podcast and, I am, well,
I wouldn't say IMDb
usually
'cause yeah.
IMDb. But,
Right. Yep. It's a
you
shame
know,
because Kane Hodder was even put on that IMDb as well, which was a sad shame.
yeah,
Even
I-
asking around people like Noelle Berger, Hayden, even like Matt Burns, and there's a bunch of people, myself, there's people in the indie community, the indie family that know who is reputable, who's good, who has a good reputation, and if they don't know, they can send you to somebody that does know. Even Facebook
yeah,
fan pages.
exactly. I don't want to say I was a whistleblower on the Once Upon a Nightmare. I did contact an actress that I personally know and asked her.
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you part of
I'll be the
this?"
first to admit it. You know that link of the plagiarism of Michael Nemeth?
Yes.
I was the one that had that. I was the one that first gave that to Carl, and Carl gave it to Amanda, and Amanda passed it around to everybody else.
Yeah, I contacted this actress and she was just mind blown. She was like, no, no. And I was on the phone as she was making a post saying,
Yeah.
she had never even talked to him.
Yep,
Had no idea who he was.
I know that Michael Nemeth firsthand. I knew him. I knew that he did this in the past, and I was a little suspicious about Once Upon a Nightmare when they announced Kane Hodder and all these big names. And once he announced Christine, using the replica or whatever of Christine, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
this is another scam that he's doing. So I got that link up and I immediately sent that over to Carl, and he ended up doing that, sending it, to Amanda, and they took care of the rest. Because I mean, obviously, I disassociated myself with him completely because this is the final straw. I mean, I'm in the indie film community. I'm a filmmaker, and I don't want my friends and my family, my indie horror family, to be, scam like this. Like, I mean, he did it in the past. People change. I thought maybe this is legit, but then
yeah,
once he started getting these around, I started, I showed this link that I found years ago because my friend Marcus is an author, and he was supposed to have Michael Dark One him to end up editing it, but he never did. And from there, that's how I became his editor for his books. And from there, like I found this link, and I found like he did this in the past with Nightmare on Elm Street fan film with and all that. And he said that Freddy Krueger was his uncle, playing his uncle, and he really just stole the movie from YouTube. And it was a
oh
whole thing.
wow,
And he didn't make any money off that one, but he didn't even have an Indiegogo for it. But then this started up, and that's where you have to be wary, but you also can't not just donate to people, because these are how we get the films made. And there are
exactly.
really good filmmakers out there. And I mean, I know firsthand, like I'm gonna be honest right here. You are probably the fourth person that I had on this show that said the same exact thing as everybody else. Everybody said the same thing. So those that are watching this on YouTube and those that are listening to this on, Apple Podcasts and all the other podcasting platforms out there, just know that Hayden is the fourth person that I interviewed from the indie community that stated that you do your research and that these films can only be made with your help and your, honorable donations, your hospitality, your generosity. So you guys have to really help these films get made. And to do that, if you are afraid that something like this will happen again, even if it is a reputable source, a reputable company, whatever, still do your research. And I'm going to be honest, and you can agree with me, all of these people that donating, if you donate to an Indiegogo campaign, it's going to be a risk, because projects, even they could be the most reliable filmmaker out there, and the project can fall flat due to any type of reason outside of funding.
That is very, very true. You are taking a risk, but I'll tell a story early on in the development, early pre-production of Reunion from Hell. There was different cast members attached, and it just fell through because COVID or other
Right.
reasons. Um, but my goal was, no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
this movie was going to be made.
Right.
And if I lost somebody, well,
Mm-hmm.
I hated it. I wished them the best,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved on to finding the next person that I could cast.
Right.
So it's all about, you know when I said I was going to do it, and I've had several people say that, Noelle being one of them, because she saw some of the early pre-production nightmare I had went through, because this was my first film.
Right.
Um, but in the end, I think it shocked everybody that I came through. I did exactly what I said I was going to do.
Right.
And I know people have contacted me, and this is a testament to Sam and his wonderful visions, DP, and
Right.
how blown away by just the footage they've seen,
Mm-hmm.
how blown away they are by that. And it's just rewarding. It's very
It really
rewarding.
is. And like you said, you went through the developmental hell, as they call it, and things like that in productions, especially indie films and low budget, are more frequently to happen than they are in bigger budget and box office hits, because we're not experienced filmmakers, so to speak. We're doing it because we have a passion for the industry. It's not like we have that training or whatever. You know, we just have a group of and a family, and they, you know, they believe in us, and that's what, you know. And there's going to be downfalls. Some projects completely fall flat, and in your case, thankfully, it didn't fall flat. You had some production hell and, you know, pre-production hell, and you went through it, and you got through it, and you made a movie.
Exactly. And you know, I say, you know, all the blood, the sweat, the tears, it's worth it.
Yeah, it really
Um,
is.
we are about 2 weeks away from being finally fully edited.
Nice.
I have seen like the first hour and 5 minutes of the film put together,
Yeah,
and it's beautiful. I mean, it's
that's great.
beautiful. I will say the opening credits, any horror fan is just gonna be
Yeah,
over the moon about what we did with the opening credits
that's
alone.
awesome. And the thing is, if anybody's watching, like, you think that it's so much fun to be a filmmaker, you get to make a movie and all that, but it's a lot of work. And
Yes.
the most fun part of filming, in my opinion, is editing, because you get to see your movie that you filmed and you work so hard on come to life, the movie magic being brought to life slowly but surely. But it's also the hardest and most frustrating part of the filmmaking process, in my opinion, because you're trying to get, it's like getting, I suck at jigsaw puzzles, and it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, piecing all the scenes together, editing it
Hmm.
all together, adding the music, the sound effects, every single aspect of it all together into one film.
Exactly. And Sam, he's my editor, and
Mhm.
he's just, you know, he sends me the footage and I'm like, I love it.
That's
I mean, we're constant. Me and Sam and John have formed a really close friendship, a very close friendship. And I'm coming on to their project coming up, the Hag Witch, as an first assistant director. But a lot of the cast from Reunion from Hell are involved with the Hag Witch. That's
right.
how much of a family unit
Yep.
we formed. So it's seeing the footage. It's unreal. And I can remember my first day on set, the first day we ran cameras, and it is weird because we just got past that scene, the very first scene we shot in the film, and I messaged Sam. I was like, you know, that was the first scene we shot, and he was like, yeah, I know. And I remember thinking that day, I'm on set with Kathy Podwell. She's a legend,
Yes, she is. She
and I'm
absolutely
doing these scenes with her. She plays my mother in the film, so it was unreal.
That's amazing. It really is amazing. What was it like, just not just starring in the film, but also being a director on it?
You know, it was a challenge. It was. It's not for the easily broken type people. Because I had some very, very intense scenes and some very dark places I would have to go to.
Mhm.
And then we would call cut, and I would have to go into director mode and go
Mhm.
look at the footage. And, you know, so it's, if you have a good crew,
Mhm.
it can be amazing. If
Yeah.
you don't have a good crew, I imagine it could be a really nightmarish
Yeah.
experience. But luckily, I had a wonderful crew.
That's awesome. And the thing is, like you said, you have Sam and Joanna, and the thing is, you have to have a family, or you can't do filmmaking alone, especially indie films. You
Oh
can't
no.
do it alone, because yeah, you can get a cast and a crew and all that eventually, but if you don't have an executive team, or if you don't have a team of friends that are going to do this and join you on this journey from not just filming it, but from the start to the finish, is like you can do it on your own, but it's the work is times 10. Is you need that extra help. Everybody does, because it's not that easy to do it with the 3 people or the 4 people, let alone yourself.
Exactly. And, I like to say, we kind of did what the original Friday the 13th and Halloween,
Right.
when they were making those films, everybody, cast and crew, pitched in and,
Yeah.
did stuff behind the scenes. And, it was just, we were all coming together with this passion and belief of this film, and we all just really became close. And we premiere April 30th in
Okay.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Awesome.
Is the red carpet premiere for the cast and crew. We're doing it at the Full Moon Cineplex in Nashville, Tennessee. And then on May 1st, we're having a fan screening. It will be the first time that fans get to see it
Okay.
in a theater, but they'll get to see it with the cast and crew.
Okay.
And we'll do a Q&A session after the screening,
Awesome.
autograph session, and you can get tickets to that. It's $12. That gives you access to see the movie, gives you autographs, Q&A,
Awesome.
meet the cast and crew, and those tickets go on sale March 12th.
Perfect. That'll be great. And where would that be at? That's also in Nashville?
Yes, at the same theater.
Okay, perfect. So where that was basically my next question to an extent. So where was Reunion from Hell filmed at? What dates did you all film, and any anticipated dates for a release so everyone can view it?
Well, we filmed principal photography in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And we shot from October, and I may be getting the dates wrong. We started on October 10th, and we wrapped on October 22nd.
Awesome.
And then we did some pickup shots in Charlotte, North Carolina, earlier this month.
Perfect.
And that was just real quick pickup shots. And then, of course, we premiere on April 30th for the cast and crew, and then we're doing that fan screening event. And then also, I'm going to I know we're trying to get a screening in Huntington, West Virginia, where Sam and Jonna live. There's a couple of conventions that are wanting the rights to screen the film. So we will go through the film festival market and, all of that. But we already have several distributors, and it's unreal. We were being contacted before we even finished making the movie. They're interested in the film. And so I think we have 12 distribution companies interested in the rights.
That's great.
So hopefully the plan is that hopefully it will be out for everybody by October. That's what I'm hoping.
Awesome. So before I get into the last question, everyone who you're watching, listening, wherever you're hearing this podcast, watching this podcast at, just know that this is an example. Hayden is an example of what hard work details, like what hard work pays off. It might be very frustrating at times. It might be like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. Oh, and then you're all stressed out. But at the end of the tunnel, there's always that rainbow. And Hayden got to that rainbow. She hit the finish line. And look where you're at. You are there now. And this is what a successful filmmaker looks like. And I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud to be your friend, and I'm proud that you are able to get this done. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this product's gonna be like.
Well, thank you. That means so much to me. And I don't say it was just me that made the film. It was all of us together.
Absolutely.
We all succeeded in making this film. It wasn't just one of us. We all did it together.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I mean, it's cliche. It's said to death, especially in the film industry. But you guys are a family, and as a
Oh
family,
yeah,
you grow and you struggle and you do things together and you succeed and you have setbacks and you keep pushing forward. And as a family, you get through it together. One, all together.
exactly. And yeah, we did that, and it's kind of ironic. None of it wasn't planned this way.
Right.
Um, the night that Kathy wrapped her portion of filming,
Mm-hmm.
which of course Kathy told several, first of all, several behind the scenes stories of Night of the Demons, which was amazing to hear.
Awesome.
But the night that she wrapped filming was the 33rd anniversary of Night of the Demons opening.
Wow.
And
Awesome.
it was weird. It was like, okay, I guess it was supposed to happen this way. So
Awesome. All right, so the last question is here. Do you have any other projects that you would like to promote that you have in the works? And also, any social media sites or other websites that you'd like to promote for both yourself and Reunion from Hell?
okay. Well, of course, got the Hagwitch coming up, and you can follow that. They're running an Indiegogo campaign right now, and you can follow that by going to the Hagwitch, and I think it's dash movie on Facebook.
Awesome. And let me cut you off
And
here for 1 second. I just want to let everybody know that if you want to also find out more about the Hagwitch in detail, you can listen to my interview with Sam and Jonna, and that one's also on the YouTube channel and on all the podcasting platforms. Sorry, Hayden, but I have to plug that. You mentioned it.
I would like to throw in there too. I'm so glad I had the honor of reading that script right as before anybody else read the second draft. And I'm so glad that I read it in the daytime. It's going to be scary. Like
Yes,
it's
they emphasize that.
intense.
I can't wait.
I was so thankful that I read that script during the day. But you can, for Reunion from Hell, you can follow us. We have a group on Facebook. It's Reunion from Hell, where you can really keep up to date and interact with several of the cast members. We have an official Facebook page, which is Reunion from Hell. And then you can friend me, and it's just Hayden Newman. Um, and if I don't have a problem friending anybody. So.
Right. As long as you're not as long as you're real.
Exactly. I do checks. I've gotten pretty good about
Awesome.
noticing the fake profiles. Um, but there is some other stuff in the works. I
Okay.
cannot say what just yet. I can say that Kathy Podwell is returning,
Okay.
and that we are announcing it right after we do the premiere weekend of the first film.
Awesome. So
So I cannot say what it is, but we're really excited about it.
that's awesome to hear. And of course, I'm assuming you have an IMDb page.
Yes, we do. We have an IMDb page. It's of course Reunion from Hell, and
Right.
um, yeah, and so yeah, we're just getting ready for this release now, which is
Great.
unreal. This journey started February of 2020, and now March of 2021. It's fixing to be released.
It goes by quick.
Yes, it does. But that's another thing I would like to tell other filmmakers is, like you said, it's not easy. It is a job. I was several times on my phone to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and writing, and as a filmmaker, it's a job.
Yep.
It's
Exactly. I have a full-time job that I do as, for my for my my full-time career. And
yeah,
doing that on top of filmmaking I mean, technically filmmaking is a full-time career, just not a 9 to 5 set hours. You'll get calls at 3 in the morning. You'll get messages 3 in the morning. When you're asleep, you're getting woken up by these messages. And then you're at work. When I was at work, at least, I'm getting messages out the wazoo. I had to wait till lunch to respond to them. Like it gets overwhelming, especially when you have a full-time career.
Especially that, and also when you're dealing with people on the West Coast,
Yep.
because I'm on the East Coast, I'm in Alabama.
Right.
So there's that huge time difference.
Yep.
So
3 hours. So it could be, midnight for us and we're in bed or whatever, and they're messaging us, calling us or whatever, and it's only like 9 o'clock at night over there for them.
exactly. But it's all worth it in the end. It really
is. When you see the final project and the final product of the movie, and you get to see yourself on that big screen, your name on the screen, you acting on the screen, your work coming to life, all your friends, your family watching it and seeing all the work you put in and your cast and crew put in. It is an ultimate, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's just an amazing experience, amazing feeling that everybody's hard work just melded, this like went right into this product, and it's now it's alive, it's there.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny, like I said, me and Kathy became extremely close, and we text just about every day and talk on the phone at least once a week. But I'm forever grateful to her. I'm like, thank you so much, thank you for taking the chance. And she's like, no, she's like, I'm forever grateful to you because you've brought me back. Right. And I'm like, no, you're a legend. Exactly. But it's a mutual love. Like, she's forever grateful and I'm forever grateful. So
right. Exactly. And she's a legend. It's a respect thing. You respect her for what she's done in the industry, and she respects you for what you've done for this movie and how you went from, all those heartaches that have happened and, the pre-production hell and everything. And you still brought this movie to life, and not just you, but obviously the cast and crew, but she respects you from, because if it wasn't for you, maybe this movie wouldn't have started, because it's your vision, it's your baby.
Exactly. And, I will say she was very much like the mom on set. Very much like the mom on set. Right. But she's just so fun loving, laid back.
That's awesome.
When you interview her, you'll love her. You'll fall in love with her.
I'm
excited. I don't think she has a mean bone in her body.
That's great. I'm excited to interview her, and I definitely look forward to that. And anybody that wants to listen to me interview Kathy Podwell, of course, you could like me on Facebook at Slasher Scotty, or Instagram Slasher Scotty, or Twitter Slasher Scotty1. I had to throw a 1 in there because there's somebody had Slasher Scotty for some reason on Twitter. But and I'll obviously, whenever I set up an interview with her, I'll put out there, a post with a picture made up of her like I did with you and everybody else. And it'll promote that up, but stay tuned for that also. And thank you, Hayden. I truly appreciate you for giving me your time for this interview, especially an hour early.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be asked to come on.
So. Awesome. So before I let you go, I just want to let everybody know, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you already don't subscribe to me, give me a subscription. Please do so on YouTube. Also, if you are listening to this on all of our podcasts, give me a rate, a comment, a like, anything like that. Subscribe to me on there, notify, whatever. I'm available on tons of different podcasting platforms, between Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, OpenBox, Castbox, Verbal Breaker, Anchor, and about 25 others that I can't just mention because there's too many of them. But I thank you, Hayden, so much. It's been an honor. And for all those listening, please go and check out Reunion from Hell once it is out. Obviously, I'll keep sharing it when she posts updates, and you can see when it's available, and go and see it when you can, because it's going to be a great film. I have confidence in Hayden and the project, and I am so excited to see it myself.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. Thank you, Hayden. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.